Greetings, fellow crystal gems. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And welcome to Tiki's Universe, the show where we react to and respond to all things Steven Universe. Oh, yes. I'm not even going to say Gravity Falls or anything anymore. I think this can be exclusively Steven Universe. There's really nothing else like Steven Universe, and Gravity Falls is coming to an end anyway, so there's nothing left to speculate on that. So, BlueDragonFive, it's been a while. It's been a while since the Steven has been on the air, but it's coming back. It's coming back big. Are you excited for a week of Steven Universe next week?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we thought it'd be fun because there's a lot of kind of loosey-goosey speculation going around in the Steven world. We know the titles of the Steven Bomb episodes. We know the synopses of said episodes for sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to go quickly through the Steven Bomb stuff, and then BlueDragonFive, you want to explain the situation with the other episode titles we have?
Yeah, sure, folks. See, there was a time where you could look up on Cartoon Network or on Wikipedia, and there'd be a myriad of essentially the rest of the lineup of Season 2 of Steven Universe. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, it was made clear by supervising director Ian Jones, Cordy. I guess Cordy's the way to say it, I guess. Ian Jones Cordy, who was confirmed that, I guess in August he confirmed, just looking at Wikipedia recently, we were all happy-go-lucky. He said, okay, we're going to check out what the episodes are, so he's like, list off kind of some names. And we realized, oh wait, where are they? And then there was an explanation here, so that's what we're going with, so bear in mind, folks. So Ian Jones Cordy mentioned that the previous titles, like they might either have been changed, some of them might have been canned or switched around, and definitely they might have been out of order. So basically, there is a list of what remains of those names, but take them with a grain of salt because they might either be changed. They're not definite. They're not official. Just the ones that are coming up with Steven Bomb are absolutely official because they'll be fully produced episodes and be airing. So we're going to basically be really speculating a speculation, essentially, with those. Like, we don't know which ones are definite, which ones are changed, but at one time they were announced, so they're probably worth talking about. Just give us an idea what the episodes might be about. Episodes, titles change all the time. Look at Better Call Saul. They had an episode called Jello that turned into Alpine Shepherd's Boy. It happens, folks.
Oh, God. And wasn't that the one episode that broke the O trend of that season?
Yes, and the writers weren't happy about it.
Oh, that bothers me so much. Oh, well.
And they wanted it to be Jello. And apparently, and by the way, they can't talk about it either. It's like they're afraid of the Jello people retaliating.
No. That bothers me on like a very instinctual OCD level.
Okay, but on the Steven Universe, enough Jello.
Yes. All right, so we'll start with Steven Bomb, and one thing I know is that kind of every Steven Bomb has a little bit of an arc to it. Like the last Steven Bomb we had was it was Pearl and Garnet, and the whole thing was Sardonyx and everything like that. So this arc, I believe, is going to be pretty much centered around Steven's birthday.
I don't know. It's like Steven seems to be kind of not even in the center of the Steven Bombs. I'm not sure if his birthday is going to be exactly the centerpiece. But
well, I don't. Yeah, well, I've just been hearing like, just Steven getting older as a theme is kind of going to be something that's prevailing through the whole thing. I could be wrong about it, but that's just something I've heard, that just kind of the theme of. I've actually been hearing rumors that they might change Steven's physical appearance in some way. I don't know how. I don't take that with an extreme grain of salt. That just comes from the fact that they've changed Amethyst's appearance on the show and Peridot, so maybe there's a little something going on with that. Kind of a theme going on with characters changing their appearance and Steven getting older and whatnot. Who knows? Maybe he'll spout up like a tiny bit of facial hair or something. I don't know.
Oh. Before we get started, shouldn't we cue some music of some variety?
Oh, dear God.
Like, cue the music. Can we do any of that?
Cue the music that's not copyrighted, that's not actually us playing the Cartoon Network theme song that will get us in trouble. So, all right, you ready?
Yeah, go on.
We
are the Crystal Gems.
Gems will always save the day. And if you think we can't, we'll always find a way. That's why the people
of this world
believe in
Garnet,
Amethyst,
And Pearl
and Steven! Oh dear God, folks, please don't murder us in the comments. I have a bad cold. Oh God, and it's all going straight to my sinuses, so my voice is very messed up.
I think we were mediocre at best.
Oh God, mediocre, as a Morton Joe from Mad Max Fury would say.
Yep.
All right, so let's get right into it because we're starting off with a literal bomb, BlueDragonFive. I can't wait for this episode. Oh yeah.
I knew you were going to be very thrilled about this one.
Oh man, the answer. This is a biggie. This is going to be. I can tell this is going to be a big
if you would ever title your episode "The Answer," you know it has to be big, otherwise it's going to be a huge letdown. You can't just get away with the name "The Answer" without having some things explained.
Okay, so basically going to be Garnet backstory.
Yes. So why? I remember when I heard this one's going to be. It kind of reminded me of one of my favorite episodes of Steven Universe, the whole "We Need to Talk," where Rose mentions the Greg. Those are 3 long stories. So I think we're going to get one of those long stories of how Garnet came into being and got in contact with Rose and the Crystal Gems.
Oh man.
So this is like that one's going.
This is the big thing that we've been waiting for since the season 1 finale. So, all right, I don't even want to speculate on what it could possibly be. I just want the show to deliver, and there's going to be some emotional moments here.
Well, okay. The big question is it could be quite the love story when you think about it, because it's going to be our 2 fusions kind of in ways solidifying that bond, and we don't know what the circumstances are going to be for that, but we know it would have to be really impactful to the point where they would never want to separate. They're a permafusion. I mean, ideally, exactly. At least on the surface, a permafusion that they can defuse, but it's predominantly they'd like to stay together, and they're in a mindset where they can stay fused all the time, as long as no emotional trauma comes into the mix, or destruction, or physical destruction.
I've also heard, again, take this with a grain of salt, I've heard it takes place on Earth. Like, it's not going to be any homeworld stuff or anything like that.
No, that could be interesting. This might call into question, like, of our gem origins, like, how they all kind of found their way there.
Exactly. Like, maybe it's kind of like, Ruby and Sapphire are both on a mission to Earth or something like that.
Potentially.
Okay. All right, so you want to get into Steven's birthday?
Sure.
All right. Pretty self-explanatory.
But yeah, it seems to be kind of a milestone episode for Steven, perhaps. Of he's kind of facing, he has to grow up. I mean, there's some big things coming his way. You got the cluster on the horizon. This is taking place at the barn, from what I understand. And I'm sure we're gonna have some wonderful Peridot comedy, and I'm looking forward to that.
Oh yeah.
It's like her grasping what a birthday is, I'm assuming, will factor in there. But yeah, and also let's talk a little bit about the whole age thing with Steven. So I mean, I've always been wondering this, like, how long can they last with the voice actor they have for Steven?
Well, that's a good question, but the ballsy thing to do would just be to age the character as the voice actor gets older and kind of, fit the model of the character appropriately, and I think that might be something that they're going to do.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I mean, I don't want them to change the voice actor, but there will be the time.
I don't. That would be a travesty if they changed.
Now, of course, they did something really smart in one of the best episodes. Again, probably the second Steven Universe episode that really hooked me on the series. And I watched it today just to prepare for this. Too Many Birthdays.
Oh yeah,
that one. That's a really good one. Then, of course, you get to see kind of their little. Get out of jail free card, but you get to see Steven age a little bit. Now, don't get me wrong, it wasn't the most flattering models, and that was the gag. He's in various different states of age. And the one that would logically be next isn't the most appealing, that I don't think we really get a lot of mileage out of, but I'm assuming that's going to some design work will be made to kind of make it a little more doable, or at least kind of a good transition point for if they do age Steven up a little bit. So maybe he'll be a little taller. I don't think they're going to give him facial hair, but might basically be an explanation for the voice should it change.
I think if he gets facial hair, it'll probably be like late in the series.
Yeah. I'm just saying the when he was aging in that episode, will probably explain the difference in look, because his gem will interact with him, make him age a little bit.
Also, I want to point out a quick time thing that I don't know if we addressed or not when we talked about Nightmare Hospital. Maybe we did. I just don't remember. But it was kind of caught my attention when I was rewatching that episode. Connie says that she's been training with Pearl for a year. So, did you catch that? That a year passed between Sworn to the Sword and Nightmare Hospital?
Yeah. Well, remind me. The sword was in the first season, right?
No, the Sworn to the Sword is second season.
Oh, okay. Sorry, they kind of blend together a little bit after a while. But
yeah,
because I know it's why she has the sword in the opening credits of 2. In the intro, she has the.
Well, yeah, but they changed the intro.
I mean, in the second intro, she has the sword now.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying
they
changed the intro from the first one to the second one. So yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry. Okay, so let's see. I'm trying. Sworn to the Sword was episode 6.
Okay, so a year's gone by. Okay.
And then Nightmare Hospital was episode 16. So 10 episodes equates to a year, roughly.
Okay.
All right.
That's an interesting point. But anyway, with the design, what I was saying was like, because remember when he aged that one time, he had like the cracky voice, and he had like the acne, and he was taller, and he had like the facial hair coming out of the acne. It was, no, I don't think it's the most appealing thing you want to do with your character. Like, I don't think he's gonna look as good in the promotion material. Like, they gotta like smooth out the design a little bit. And their excuse would probably, unless if they want to keep it in continuity, they'll say, well, eventually he'll be that way, but the transition will be a little bit taller and still look like Steven, but the voice will be different. That'll be the main thing. Otherwise, they're just gonna like just kind of retcon it and just say, okay, well, it looks like this at this age. Okay, it looks much better. Less playful, more durable. Like, yeah, we can work with this.
Anyway. All right, so like I said, I think that the whole theme of Steven getting older is going to kind of resonate through this series of episodes. Maybe even the answer, maybe the conversation that they have is spurred on by the fact that Steven's birthday is coming up. You know what I mean? Maybe they kind of build up Steven's birthday even before it happens.
Okay, it could be a point of Steven becoming more mature. He's more he can be in the loop on the gym stuff. It's like a full kind of place on the team, which he's earned at this point, but it's going to be further information, like any additional kind of mind-blowing secrets or reveals we're going to get this season, probably be kind of the outlet through, okay, well, Steven's old enough now, we're going to let him on some, like, actually, it is. It might be, Steven's going to be kind of the whole homeworld secret, and the whole homeworld story will be how we're getting that, from Steven now being old enough to know the details, the details of all the gem world stuff. Because remember, it's not a happy story, folks. Our crystal gems, they rebelled from essentially an oppressive force that was trying to destroy the Earth, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, we already discussed kind of the idea that Pearl's race was essentially a slave race.
Yeah, and of course the gems were there was a war that broke out of some variety.
Right.
And war broke out, and I'm trying to think. There's another detail there. There was. Oh yeah, right. I'll bring this up now, I guess. I was rewatching last episode that premiered. If I'm right, the last one was Too Far. Is that the last one we talked about?
Yeah.
Yeah, Too Far is just rewatching. You just have some additional details and stuff. And one of those details, it might be prudent with these upcoming ones, just with the theme of like learning more about Homeworld, is that apparently the gems, the reason they really don't like the crystal gems, or like they might run into a lot of difficulties with the crystal gems after all these years, is because they really look down on fusion. Fusion is it's really frowned upon by the gem culture. It's hence the perversion of the cluster gems, of the geo weapons.
Right.
Basically they're using it for a practical battle stance, but fusing just for the fun of it, fusing out of forming a bond and as like a form of affection. They really don't like that. So that was like a big sticking point of that episode of I'm sorry, it wasn't a big sticking point. It was like a Peridot had some really good dialogue, and she's like mentioning all the little gem homeworld facts, and that was one of them. She mentioned that she's like insulting at the beginning there. She insults Garnet, and Garnet ties her to the thing like a dog, because she says, you being a permafusion, basically insulting her, and it's revealed that always looks down on Garnet because she's a permafusion.
Mm. Well, I mean, keep in mind we had the same thing go down with Jasper, and I think Jasper is an even more extreme example of that.
Exactly.
Jasper is essentially the Hitler when it comes to fusions.
So that's the idea too. It's like, Jasper was like, Jasper and Lapis it's a horrifying example of fusion. It's an unwilling fusion, which of course
exactly.
See, the thing is, like, that's the two worst things you can do with fusion. It's like just the scientific kind of taking parts of gems and fusing them together forcefully. It's just like it's essentially forgive the Nazi parallels here, folks. It's like Dr. Mendel experiments going on there.
Well, I mean, I think we already have enough Nazi parallels in pop culture right now with Star Wars, so I think we're good.
But seriously, I have like kind of like these horrific and Holocaust experiments going on with the gems.
Yeah, no, totally.
And of course, the other thing is just like the bizarro fusion of like, you don't want to be in this fusion, and Lapis is doing all she can to keep an evil at bay there when she's fused with Jasper.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's like an unwilling fusion that it's like you're battling the other person you're fused with in the mental state, so the other one doesn't break free and do terrible stuff. It's a horrifying example of fusion.
Yeah.
I was saying, so fusion might be an interesting thing that's going to come about, and again, probably factoring into the homeworld stuff, like a reason why the crystal gems are really kind of another reason they probably turned on each other, which means Garnet's story. The answer might factor into like why the gems split from the gem culture and why the war probably started.
Yeah.
Something to keep in mind.
Okay, so the next episode is It Could Have Been Great, and I don't really know what to make of this yet. The gems take a trip to the moon.
Okay, so it could have been great. Okay, that means something it's going to reflect on a change they made or a regret they have. The episode's going to be all about regret. So again, I'm thinking it's going to be a lot of homeworld backstory. This Stephen bomb. That's what I'm thinking. Which Stephen is now old, and I think Stephen's birthday's.
I'm not sure about that because, like I said, I'm pretty sure that the Garnet stuff all takes place on Earth.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying I think Steven's the device so we can get some homeworld information. I'm not saying we're going to know all the answers. I'm saying we're going to get more information through Steven learning about it, which is us, the audience, also learning about it.
I'm just saying I wouldn't expect like a full-blown, I wouldn't expect this episode to just be like a big, Pearl-centric homeworld flashback.
I don't know. I'm saying I think it's a dual thing, Tiki, because I'm just looking at some of these descriptions here, and I'm thinking that it's Stephen learning about homeworld, kind of growing up as a person, kind of forming his own decisions and his opinions on the information he's receiving about homeworld. That's what I'm thinking it is. I think it's just Stephen growing, learning about this stuff. But that's just my thoughts on it.
Okay.
Listen to the other ones. I think the other ones will kind of feed into that, because all these Stephen bombs so far sound like they're all tying into setup for the homeworld stuff. One
of my things is I don't want this show to reveal too much too fast and then have nothing left to go on.
That's what I'm saying. I think this is just like he's just setting up like Stephen kind of developing his views. Like, remember, the gems are a little more complex than we usually think.
Because, I mean, Gravity Falls, they made the conscious decision to tell a 2-season story arc, but BlueDragonFive, I tell you, I'm still traumatized when I was watching those last few episodes of Gravity Falls, and I was, really realizing, oh my god, there's nothing left to go here. They are literally setting up this story where there is no fucking way in hell there's anything left to tell.
No, don't you think it'd be interesting, Stephen Hummer said, again, the big idea that we're assuming that might probably be explored in season 3 would be, the aftermath of all the gem stuff going on in Beach City, and the negative kind of view of the gems, are they a help or are they a hindrance? Kind of a Batman dilemma with the gems.
Right.
Now, again, feeding into that, don't you think it'd be interesting if at this point, if this set up the idea? I'm not saying it explores it fully. I'm saying this sets up the idea. It allows Stephen to form an opinion on, man, the gems, are a lot more complex. I'm just on their side because, I know these guys. I mean, I'm their friends. I'm always the big advocate of the crystal gems, but, I've never really questioned the background. I just know they're good guys on our side. I never questioned that before. Maybe it's now Stephen he's getting more information on it, kind of starting to form his own opinion now that he's getting older.
Yeah, for sure.
Just saying, it's something to consider. It's a potential direction. That's what I'm getting the vibe of with the Stephen bomb. It's about Stephen learning things. That's what I'm guessing. And really, that's all we have to go on for the moon things, that they're going on a road trip to the moon where we can assume this information is going to be shared. Otherwise, it's a fun trip to the moon. For
some reason, I'm getting a sense that this is going to be a Pearl Flash or a Pearl-centric episode. I don't know, just based on the title.
I love some Pearl, but I don't really see where Pearl is going to be in this one, but I would like that.
Just based on the title. I don't know.
It could have been great. Then I could see some Pearl stuff. And okay, it might be. Yeah, Pearl's all about kind of regrets and like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
Okay, so next one, what do we got?
Message received.
Message received.
And this one's about Steven having doubts about believing it. Well, that's what I'm saying. This is what's kind of making me think.
Yeah.
His opinion.
Yeah.
Think about this. Let me just throw this out here. Okay, so the one that potentially is Pearl in the lead, which, it sounds like a Pearl statement. That's why I'm kind of gravitating what you're saying there, Tiki, about being a Pearl episode. Because, it's like, things could have been great. Maybe it's Pearl, again, as we mentioned before, talking about Steven Universe, Pearl idealizing and celebrating the gem culture before it kind of got screwed up.
I'm actually thinking that we're going to, okay, hear me out. Just hear me out. I'm thinking that we're going to get the homeworld stuff a little later. I think what we're going to get this Steven Baum is I think we're going to get some revelations about what the gems are doing on Earth. And I think that is going to be what kind of sets Steven off. What if the gems were originally sent to Earth to destroy Earth? Something like that. Or sent to Earth to survey, or I don't know. I'm jumping the gun a little bit, maybe. I'm thinking like with the whole, it could have been great. I think that's something that Pearl regrets. Like, they came to Earth to do something, and then something else happened that kind of turned into, I don't know. Like I said, I'm being very loosey-goosey with it because this is a show that likes to surprise us, and I don't really, I like to just kind of take the show as it comes. But, like, I'm just thinking, especially in terms of, like, they go to the moon. Okay, think about it this way. They go to the moon, and then they're looking at the Earth, right?
Yeah.
So they must have, like, it must be some reflection on the Earth and the gem's relation to the Earth.
So, it has to have some sort of gem history built into that episode.
No, I'm not saying that there's no gem history. I'm just saying it's going to be the part of gem history that's where they first came to Earth.
Well, yeah, so let me finish what I was saying, though.
Okay.
I think it might be, just given, that it sounds like a Pearl statement. It might be kind of Pearl, as we discussed previously, Pearl, remember, she's always about going into space. She loves, there's episode where she really tried going into space. It didn't work out.
Right.
And with that, it's like, Pearl did idealize the gem culture. She loved that. And, of course, at some point, that went south, hence the reason they're on Earth. But, still she longs for the culture with the good parts of that. So what I'm thinking is perhaps it's like, it could have been great in terms of, like, they were sent there, or they're going to Earth for some purpose that, this kind of, they have some good purpose that kind of got corrupted by this homeworld factory into what they wanted to do with the planet.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I'm saying, like, Pearl is longing for, like, what we were sent here for was great, and it was going to be this great, glorious thing. But then, things got made up on two levels. One, what we found out homeworld really wanted us to do there, and we realized, no, we can't do that. Or, again, it's always a little foggy with the background of the crystal gems, which maybe this will clear up a little bit. But, it could be like, they were going there just to do a thing, but they didn't think much of the human beings on the planet. Then, of course, they go there, Rose falls in love, and they kind of say, oh, man, the humans aren't that bad. And they realize, okay, we can't destroy humanity. I mean, we just thought they were like farm animals or something on this planet.
I think we have enough evidence based on what's already been presented on the show to kind of assume that something like that went down. So I think that this episode is going to basically expand on the details, the specifics.
Yeah, like thinking, okay, the Earth was like something we need to either like harvest the energy core or something. Basically, use the planet for something. Just looking at it, just kind of putting it all in perspective. Well, we had plans for this planet, like either like exterminating the species to plant. Essentially, what it kind of looks like what the clusters are there for, like it's like kind of helping gem culture in some way. So basically, we could have built the culture up and done all this great stuff, but then of course we realized the humans were more than just inhabitants of the planet. They were actually, they're human beings. They're nice people. They're multidimensional.
Uh-huh.
And it's probably just maybe a reflection on how far they've come episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And again, just Steven kind of taking this information and him thinking wow, it's a lot more. They started out much differently than I thought they did. More than I've gotten to know them.
Yeah, so this is just really exciting. I mean, just given all the character development, that's what this show is known for. I think that's what this show is going to go down for. I think, other shows, we've seen animated shows with character development in the past, but my God, just in the second half of the second season of this show, we're already so radically different from where we started out, where Steven is very young and amateur about his powers and everything, and they're treating him like a little kid, to now it's to the point where Steven is kind of questioning the validity of the gems in general, and he's kind of becoming the more mature one.
Yeah, which maybe leads us to our next episode, which would be Message Received. Now, Message Received, quite possibly, it seems like that one's going to be about Steven having doubts about believing in everyone.
Well, so, yeah, I would say that because it says so on Wikipedia. Good job. I'm sorry. That was mean. I'm sorry.
Anyway, so it seems like that's going to be the crux of the episode. You know, we'd be not 100%. That sounds like it's going there.
I'm sorry. I'm legitimately sorry. I'm cantankerous. I've been sick for a week. I'm sorry. Right. We went over this on the Disney debates. I'm just kind of salty in general.
Yeah, he's really crotchety these days, folks.
I'm not lying when I say that. I'm just not feeling well.
Okay, but seriously, so Steven seems like his belief in people is running thin. So I'm thinking that he might have some disillusionment with the gems, either by either being some sort of message that is like like a literal message of like from homeworld or science discovered of like this is what the gem's purpose was or something, or this point is a literal message, or someone just gives him like a cynical response, like you really believe in these people, or like Peridot, like she do it too far, unintentionally kind of crushes Steven's hopes and dreams.
Right.
By saying, "Oh no, that's not what the gems were sent here for, Steven." Something like that. Just saying, like, that's a
good Peridot. That's a good Peridot.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Steven. No, okay, anyway, but no, but seriously, it could be like Peridot unintentionally kind of diffusing Steven's kind of unfathomable, unflaggable belief in everything, which means like he's going around Beach City just kind of like, no, why should I? No, what if something goes wrong? It's like a dejected Steven universe, perhaps, or something.
I think that maybe like kind of this is the second time I've made this comparison, but maybe like a Spider-Man 2 style. Like, I'm hanging up the crystal gem stuff. I don't even know what to believe in anymore.
Well, it suggests that either there's a message of like, Steven in the episode is let down by the gems or let down by someone, so that attitude would be reflecting the episode, or it could be a literal message of like, questioning all he knows about the gems and questioning about his belief in people, belief in his closest loved ones, belief in everyone else around him, until he realizes by the end probably that, I can believe in these people. I got to go back to my old way of thinking. Something along those lines. That's my guess of what that episode's about. It's a message about, I like the idea of this one. This, Steven kind of losing.
My friend, I don't think that the arc's going to be over within an episode. I think it's just the beginning of Steven starting to have doubts with the gems.
No, I'm still, though. I mean, I think they're going to halfway solve like his belief in other people, but the gems will still be the lingering thing. You know what I mean? Like that's going to be the lingering kind of big dilemma that still needs to be resolved. But he has belief in other people. It's just he's kind of like taking those feelings and kind of spreading to everyone else around them.
So speaking of having his illusions shattered,
yeah.
The next episode has me very intrigued. Almost as intrigued as the first episode. I feel like the first episode and the last episode are going to be both like really big bombshell episodes.
Let me just mention this every time. It's like every description. It's not just Wikipedia. It's like every description. They always mention Peridot as a friend. I don't know why they do that. I mean, we know who it is. A friend.
Right.
It's like when it rains. The description of that one says Steven explains what rain is to a friend.
Oh God!
Like, what? We know. Anyway.
Gee, Sadie, you don't know what rain is? Well, let me explain it to you.
That's what I'm saying. Okay. Anyway, so what's our next one?
So Steven, it's called Log Date 7-15-2, and essentially Steven's going to discover Peridot's recordings.
Yes, well, darn, it's not a big secret. We know she's been keeping a log, and there was Steven literally gave her a tape recorder to replace all her limb enhancements.
Yeah, but I think there's going to be some really shady stuff that comes out, stuff that we might not even know yet.
I'm saying there's definitely going to be some information, because last thing she says, like, she has logs, like, she at least in the kindergarten, she had, like, log 652.
Exactly.
So this one might be, like, an early one.
Right.
Perhaps.
So again, it's kind of like feeding into like Steven doesn't know where to trust. Like maybe throughout the whole Steven bomb, he's forming this bond with Peridot. We could see that kind of get stronger and stronger as we've been enjoying seeing over the last few episodes. And then this is the episode that just breaks Steven. Like, he's lost his faith in the main gems that were his mother figures, and now he's lost his faith in Peridot, who's become kind of like almost a sisterly figure to him.
Oh, yeah.
And oh man, like I could just see this Steven bomb ending on like a really dramatic, like Empire Strikes Back kind of note.
Well, I have some speculation about Peridot for the end of this season, but we might get into that with our additional spec here.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, but I think it's gonna end with something like Peridot sharing something in the thing that Steven's gonna in the audio thing that she's gonna regret Steven hearing about, and it's gonna be her winning his trust. Which again, like following the previous episode, is gonna be about Steven kind of questioning his belief in people, and if the gems are still kind of over there. It's like Peridot's gonna separate from the gems and someone like at least I get this person. Then I find out this bombshell of like, oh my god, I don't know this person at all. I mean, I know. I just thought I knew a grasp on it. Like, she's pretty much like a kid on Earth. Like, she doesn't know all the facts or anything. But now she's got like a plan or something, or like she's instantly. I assume it's gonna be like she's instantly planning on betraying the gems after the cluster's dealt with. That's my guess of what the secret is.
Okay.
Either that, or it's gonna be something about his mother. That's gotta be what it is. It's either that or something about Rose Quartz that he's gonna be really betrayed by.
Anything with Rose Quartz is definitely a sensitive subject with them. Sure. Okay.
So those are our confirmed episodes. Those are confirmed Steven bomb, which still kind of bugs me. We can't just get the rest of the season.
Well, they're taking their time with it. It's production and everything.
I hope it's like only like a week we have to wait after this.
Oh, I doubt it.
Well, that's just great.
But BlueDragonFive, like, okay, Gravity Falls, literally they're just sitting on the final episode. It's been completed for months. And do you want to know why the reason why they're sitting on it is?
Money.
It's literally because that there was a Gravity Falls line of merchandise that premiered over the holidays, and they were sitting on the final episode and waiting to premiere in 2016 so that they could roll out that line of merchandise.
Yeah, Gravity Falls doesn't strike me as a show that has good merchandising.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of well, for example, the journal. That's the thing that even
it runs out after. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. After the symbol and after the journal, you got Bubkiss. That's what I'm thinking with this show.
No, I don't. Well, you haven't seen enough of Gravity Falls. Let's not get into Gravity Falls.
Okay, regardless. Oh yeah, yeah. It's probably made monthly with the Steven bombs. At least I would hope it would go back to a monthly schedule.
Yeah.
If they can do that, I can live with that. I mean, I'm not going to be happy about it, but I can live with it if they do monthly. Still, just don't tease me. Like, see, monthly is in a way of getting like a weekly all in 1 week. Yeah, that I can live with that, but still, just don't do multiple months again.
Well, the multiple month thing, I mean, it's a summer, it's a winter break. We have multiple months off for Gotham as well. It's just something that TV shows do.
Yeah, but it's like a winter break after every bomb. It's like a winter break after
I don't think it's going to be after every bomb, because I think after the third Steven bomb, there were new episodes. Hold on, let me take a look really quick at the scheduling. So we had Friendship in July, and then we had Nightmare Hospital in September, so that was about 2 months. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a little sporadic. Anyways.
Yeah. Because it was monthly, and now it's back to it's long space.
But then there was a spell where they were releasing one a week for a while.
Yeah.
Randomly.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess we should probably get into our next section here.
Yes.
So let's get into some provisional titles. So bear in mind, folks, again, these aren't, just to say it one more time, these aren't officially confirmed anymore. Like, if anything subject to change is probably going to be the name and the order. So we're just speculating on just what we can find here and what we can remember that was taken away, so we get an idea of what they might be going for with some of these episodes. I mean, there has to be some truth in the original title that there was on the Cartoon Network websites. We're assuming there was some truth to it at some point.
Exactly. This isn't just some random list that that appeared on Wikipedia that was taken down. It was on the Cartoon Network website. There was a source for it.
So, I mean, they made a conscious note to either change the order or change the names of the remaining episodes, and these just haven't been officiated yet until, I guess, they get their bearings after the Steven bomb, perhaps.
One quick thing about an episode that's actually not on this list that you brought up, the Watermelon Island episode.
Yes.
I'm subscribed to the Steven Universe YouTube channel, and I could have fucking sworn I saw like a sneak peek for that episode. I don't know. Maybe I'm just imagining it, but I could have sworn I saw like a sneak peek or like a 30-second clip or something like that. Like, or at least a promotional image or something. Like, that episode exists. I don't know. It's weird. Anyways.
Well, bear in mind, we're still kind of missing a few episodes that are listed on these provisional titles. That's the thing. So we don't know.
Okay, so you want to just go in the order that they're listed on Wikipedia?
Sure.
Okay, so first one we get is Same Old World. So, I think this is going to kind of be mirroring, like, shit is kind of falling apart on Earth, and it's going to kind of be mirroring, it's maybe going to be starting to get into the, the homeworld stuff of, it was bad on homeworld, we went to homeworld to escape Earth, and now things are just as bad on Earth. It's the same old world.
Definitely got to be a homeworld episode, and why just call it Same Old World? Come on.
Unless they're just teasing us.
Okay, let's see. Hit the diamond.
I would like it if it was just a straight up, like, fucking Steven and the gang playing baseball.
Yeah.
I don't know. I some of my favorite episodes are actually just the kids being kids style Hey Arnold almost episodes. But Hit the Diamond, what do you think it could mean in relation to gems?
Oh, well, I think it's just going to be a diamond-based gem they're coming up against.
All right.
That's going to be. It's probably going to be the idea of, like, it's going to be like an unbreakable gem they have to smash in some way, but, you know, it's going to be like, you step up here. Let's see, everyone in Beach City is going to have to try to smash this gem. Man, it's like a game out of it. It's like in Thor when they had like the hammer, like who can lift the hammer?
Okay. So maybe like this giant diamond gem thing is attacking Beach City, and the gems essentially like make a diversion out of it by framing it as a carnival game.
Something like that, yeah. Like like on the pier.
Okay. All right. Steven floats.
So I'm thinking this is gonna be like a parade thing.
You know what I'm actually thinking that literally just popped into my mind right now? What if Steven invented his own, like, root beer float? Like, his own recipe of root beer float.
I infinitely love that even more. But, I don't know, I think, again...
Buy your Steven float!
Well, we have three options with float. It's either parade float, it's either root beer float, or it's going to be like any floats.
Or... They all float, Johnny. They all float.
They all float, Johnny. They all float.
That kind of float.
Oh, that was almost the Joker, kids. That was almost the Joker. Remember how lucky we are with Mark Hamill.
Oh, are you saying that I wouldn't make a good Joker, BlueDragonFive? Right, anyway.
Children in the 90s would have been traumatized for years.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we have much to go on based on Steven floats, but I hope it's a Steven Universe brand of root beer float. That's what I'm hoping for.
I think that'd be great, but I don't know. Parade float might also be in there. But yeah, I kind of want your float thing more.
Okay.
Okay, right. Too short to ride.
It's got to be like something like a roller coaster at the Beach City Boardwalk or something like that.
It's going to be a Peridot and Steven episode.
Oh, Peridot, okay.
Because Mary Amethyst can just shapeshift, so she can get on the ride.
Yeah, right.
She's fine, but it's going to be Steven and Peridot. You're going to be
so maybe the gems are riding the roller coaster, and Steven and Peridot are like the awkward people who have to wait.
Well, remember, it's going to be like they have to find other ways to occupy themselves while Amethyst is having the time of her life riding that thing, and she probably gets sick in the end. And Pearl's going to have to sit next to her. Pearl's going to have to sit next to her. She's like, oh, God.
Okay. Mr. Greg.
Mr. Greg.
I have no idea. I'm kind of stumped with this one.
Okay, I'll tell you what it might be. I'm just piggybacking off the Snowden episode they had.
Okay.
It's going to be Greg perhaps just trying to be more kind of the responsible parent, and just kind of like Mr. Greg, just trying to like overemphasize, I'm the responsible parent, Mr. Greg. That's what you got to call me. That's
I mean, if you call me Mr. Universe, it just kind of sounds ridiculous.
Or you know what? It could be one of two things. It could be that, just him striving to be kind of the responsible though in front of the I cannot pronounce Connie's last name.
Oh God, I can't either. Don't ask me.
I need to be prompt so I can say it like the back of my hand once I hear it one time. It's like I don't know. It's like a 3-part name. Mohishwaran. I think it's like Mohishwaran or something like that. Something close.
Mohishwaran.
Mohishwaran. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mohishwaran. There is something close to that, we're assuming. No, regardless, that's one option. But it could be, now you brought that up, it could be another flashback episode, and in terms of, it could be the transitional point of her ceasing to call him Mr. Universe and starting to call him Greg. And this would be the speed bump in between there of like Mr. Greg.
Oh, I love that.
So that could definitely be it. It could be, again, the thematic thing, because you got to remember, we're going to get to that point eventually. We're going to get that wonderful VHS tape moment where she's calling him Greg, or mentioning him as Greg instead of Mr. Universe. So there's still a point to go there in that relationship.
Oh, we are going to see a fucking flashback episode where Rose just sacrifices herself outright, and it's just going to be the most inside-out tissues moment of all time.
Well, remember, there's no guarantee there's going to be a sacrifice of Rose. There's no guarantee, because she gave birth, so we don't know how sacrificial we're going to get with that.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
I'm just saying it's not set in stone, because we don't know how to have like the circumstances of the thing. It could have been like a battlefield birth or some variety. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Plus, again, the gem thing, it's not exactly a traditional birth either. It's like, like her body dies, and then the end result could be little Steven.
Yeah, that's true.
So we don't know.
But still, regardless, we have to see a goodbye episode between Rose and Greg, and it's going to be heartbreaking.
I'm telling you, it's a powerful way to end the season. So either this season or next season, they got to do that.
Or I could see that being the penultimate episode of the season. Either.
Oh no, it's got to be the end.
No, I don't know about that, because
I'm saying you put him through heck in the penultimate episode, and just kind of Steven everyone putting back the pieces, and that's how you get the resolve, like hearing the story being touched by it.
Well, you put the characters through heck in the the big battle or whatever, and then you put the audience through hell with just the emotional wreckage that episode's going to be. All right. The new Lars.
New Lars, I'm assuming it's going to be a really funny one where Lars is going to try not acting like a douche. Again, not that Lars is really bad. I'm just saying, that's the gag. He's always short with people. He's kind of full of himself, and he's just like, it's going to be Lars. I'm the new Lars. I'm going to be the popular guy. I'm going to be the best Lars I can be. And Steven might coach him because Steven's always popular with our main kind of cool group of kids.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so basically it's going to be the new Lars. He's very Steven Universe-esque, and it's like they're all, and then Sadie's going to be like, what happened to my sweet old Lars? What have you done to him? Look what you did to my Lars. No!
Okay. Beach City Drift.
That's going to be a racing episode.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
It's got to be. It's going to be racing around Beach City. Again, I think our popular kids will factor into that one. Like they're all driving like go-karts or something. It'll be really cool.
It would be just amazing if it was just like an episode entirely centered on the cool kids and just like an homage to American Graffiti or something like that.
That would be very cool. I would love that. I just want to see Greg Universe in a little go-kart, but he's a big guy. I just want to see in a little go-kart. It looks identical to the Universe fan.
Okay, Restaurant Wars. I'm sensing Pizza Family versus Fry Family.
Oh, I didn't think of what the other family would be. Oh,
yeah, the Fryman family.
Well, I mean, I knew they would. Yeah, it'd be great. I want to see that. Who would you root for? It's like forget Captain America Civil War. Iron Man versus Captain America. I want to see Pizza Family versus Fry Family.
Okay, I would probably root for the Pizzas in that case.
The pizzas are very entertaining, but the Fry family, they have Frybo on their side.
Oh god! Like Frybo is resurrected to battle the pizzas.
Yeah, my money's on the pizzas.
I think the pizzas in general are a lot more likable.
Hey, you saw the pizzas take on that giant blowfish thing. They're a tough bunch.
Exactly. All right. And speaking of the pizzas,
don't mess with Kofi.
We have Kiki's Pizza Delivery Service.
I'm gonna assume that's gonna be a Kiki kind of stepping up, and again, this might thematically tie into kind of what's been said with Steven kind of growing up. Might be also Kiki growing up. Remind me, is Kiki the oldest one or the middle one? No, not the middle one. The youngest one of the.
I couldn't tell you.
Regardless, I think it's one of them stepping up for the family business, and I think Kofi's going to be so proud. You know, the dad is going to be so proud, and that's going to be like, you know, it's her trying to. This would be like a delivery thing of the pizzas instead of being like you come to there, you get the pizzas. It's going to be the start of a delivery service, and you know, Steven's probably going to help out. It's like, oh no, I want to make Dad proud. It's just, okay, I'll help you out, and the gems will probably help out too.
Oh, I don't know. I could see this episode being an episode that the gems just sit out. But
that's good also. Because remember, they're not too crazy about the pizzas.
Right.
You know, actually, I think you're right. Seriously, if they just like, you know, Steven and Ken, Steven helping Kiki out with the pizza delivery thing. Yeah, maybe a little bit of Connie in there too. We'd like some Connie.
Yeah. A little dash of Connie on the side.
Yeah, you can always use a little dash of Connie. You know, it helps brighten the place up. You know, we need more Connie in the world.
We haven't really talked much about Connie through these episodes.
Well, we know she's going to be in the birthday. Come on.
Well, yeah.
It goes without saying. I mean, Connie, she had the hospital episodes. You know, she'll be a picture. Plus, I just want to make sure we didn't like any of the episodes we talked about. Just real clues. Yeah, she'll be in the birthday one. That's probably when she'll appear.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure like she'll be in some of these provisional titles that we're mentioning that we know.
I feel like Steven. I mean, she's got to be at Steven's side here during Steven floats. I mean, come on. and probably hit the diamond if it's going to be like kind of like a carnival style. Step right up, hit the diamond, win a prize. Might win a prize. I mean, you win nothing, but you destroyed a giant gem thing.
Okay.
What a prize.
All right, so we got Monster Reunion.
Ooh. So this could be one of two things. One, the more serious angle, it could be the return of our clusters.
That's what I'm thinking.
Actually, it could be three things. Return of the clusters. Two, it could be the cluster reveal. That could be your cluster reveal episode.
Oh, dear God. You mean the thing that's fucking bigger than the Earth?
Yeah, that could be the cluster.
Oh, that thing is going to be terrifying.
So it could be that. It could be just the more of our Geo Gem weapons coming back, you know, our cluster monsters, or just the cluster, or third, and this one's just with the monster in the title there, could be the eldest Fry family member, the Ronaldo.
Oh, possibly.
Yeah, I'm just saying he likes monsters, right?
Also, potentially, maybe Jasper?
No, I'll get into my thoughts on Jasper.
Okay.
I have some theories about Jasper.
All right.
Okay,
Alone at Sea.
That's a Jasper one.
Oh.
Maybe, because remember, they're stuck in the ocean.
Yeah, that's actually, oh my God, if we just saw a full episode that was just that struggle, that would be intense. That would be like Dragon Ball. That would be like Dragon Ball Z style intense right there.
I'm saying, imagine it starts off like Jaws, like they're stranded in the ocean, then they just get swept up in the Jasper way beneath the sea, and they're taken to the undersea section where they are at, I guess. I'm just saying, like, it's like starts off like Jaws, and they're just like stranded in the ocean, then they realize, oh no, like they're looking for Jasper, perhaps. And it's like, we got a reading on her, we found her. It's like, oh no, we gotta get out of here. The boat's just like taken all the way down. They escape, but by the skin of their teeth, they escape.
Right.
But you know, overall, let me say, can I bring out kind of a? I'll save it when we get to our last one here. I'll save it for them. Okay.
All right.
So potential Jasper, and otherwise you're just kind of like stranded at sea. Otherwise, it's gonna be that.
Yeah.
Oh, this one's hilarious. This next one.
I thought friendship was going to be them stranded at sea.
Yeah, but you know, ship, you know, can always be that.
Yeah. So that's funny that this is the second time that stranded at sea could potentially come into play. All right. So Greg the babysitter.
This one, I love the title alone. I just want to mention that. Out of all of these, it's my second favorite title, and we'll get to my favorite title towards the end. But Greg I
think I might know what your favorite.
Oh, you know what it is. But Greg the babysitter. So I think if the first one we talked about, Mr. Greg isn't just him striving for legitimacy, or if it's the whole like Mr. Universe origin thing.
I love that idea. I really want that to be the case.
Well, I think it is. I'm going to assume like the Mr. Greg thing is just it's going to be our kind of our heart tugger kind of flashback episode. This one, Greg the babysitter, is going to be him striving for like he's going to be the responsible adult, kind of like Adventures in Babysitting with Greg Universe. Like he's watching the kids and he's trying to play catch up with them. He's just trying to find them.
Right.
Or basically he's the babysitter. Let's not go that far. Let's just say he's watching the kids, but he's just like. It's like he's attentive, but he's just like, he's slacking off a little bit in Greg Universe fashion.
Well, he's struggling to be responsible.
That's the thing. Like he's trying. Basically, I think he's gonna be like kind of solid with watching Steve, watching Connie, and he's just like, oh yeah, sure. And like the parents probably bugging him every second. Oh no, she's right here. She's right here. Let me speak to Connie. Is she alive? Yes, she's alive, and everything's fine. It's like I think it's just gonna be Greg put under a lot of pressure to be the adult. Really, just needs to kind of do things the Greg Universe style. It's gonna be his realization. I think that one's gonna be kind of our Greg become a responsible parent in the eyes of other parents.
For sure.
Okay.
Gem Hunt.
Gem Hunt. So this one could potentially. Again, I'm saying I have many Jasper theories for how she could be introduced with just looking at all these titles. But this one could also be another one, like, the gems are being hunted. We can only assume by the established one, by the Jasper, or by our other one. There was a gem character has been mentioned as a biggie. Do you remember what the name is?
No.
There's this. This thing we've heard mentioned to like the big gem in power, like a big one, like the one that Peridot's been communicating with.
Right. I know what you're talking about. I wish I could remember.
I don't know why, but I'm thinking yellow is somehow worked into the name. I don't know. Would you like to look it up?
I don't know what to look up.
Under characters?
Shit.
Anyway, so the point is, I think Gem Hunt is just gonna be our hero gems in pursuit, perhaps. Underfoot. Could be a potential there.
I don't know, man. I'm sick. Don't put that much pressure.
All right, fine. You keep going to the episodes. I'll see if I can get a name.
All right.
Read them off.
Okay, so Crack the Whip.
So I think it's going to be Amethyst training people in the whip.
Maybe Amethyst Swords of the Sword. Kind of. Oh, what if there was? I really want to see an Amethyst like Rocky training montage with the whip.
Well, you know what it could be. It could actually be another meaningful one. It could be we see Rose and Amethyst bond for the episode. Because remember, like, kind of a thorny rose whip is kind of what she's working with there.
True. Maybe, perhaps.
And it's something I realized in the episode, in the Too Far episode. There's a big kind of reveal by Amethyst. She is she's from the same family of gems that Rose is from. So, like, and the idea, Tiki, is very interesting, by the way. Amethyst, she's essentially, she's kind of like, I don't want to, bear in mind, this is an equivalent, folks. I'm not saying she is this. I'm just saying it's the equivalent. She's a premature birth of a gem. So
I can see that. Yeah.
Because remember, she's defective according to Peridot. What I mean by that is like the idea, because she was like out of all those in the kindergarten, out of all the gems, she was the one that was like on the ground level, and like she kind of sped up out of there. Or at least she was like a delayed one or something along those lines. So somehow it's kind of like a premature birth. Now she wasn't done yet when she came out, or something went wrong in the emergence section there. Anyway, what I'm getting at is she is a quartz. That's the thing. You kind of make sense, really, the placement of her gem, where Rose it's in her stomach, with Amethyst it's in her chest. It's like in the torso section. And she's defective, and hence the small size. That's what Peridot pointed out about Amethyst. So maybe it's going to be kind of like a connection, like why those two are kind of close together, because they are kind of the same genus of gem. And Amethyst is potentially the most powerful of all the gems, because of that fact. She's like Rose. She's got the same variety of gem.
That's true.
And apparently, again, the quartz gems emerged on Earth too. It's another Earth connection between Garnet and Rose are both emerged on Earth. And Amethyst, so apparently. Right. Well, again, Garnet maybe didn't emerge from Earth. She's going to be on Earth for her story.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't. Yeah, Guardian I think is from Homeworld. Okay, but all right. So Steven versus Amethyst.
You take a little bit.
Well, I think Crack the Whip is probably going to be a build up to what this episode is eventually going to be a conflict of. I don't know what that conflict would be exactly, but I don't know. It's interesting because.
Sorry, I found out what it was, and I was right. It's Yellow Diamond. Oh, that could be our diamond. So Yellow Diamond is the Homeworld gem who's been mentioned before, and she's kind of the head honcho. I'm assuming she, because we haven't had any male gems in this show.
That's true.
You ever think of it? It's kind of strange. They really go for the our female protagonists and our female characters, which I do love, by the way. I'm just saying it's got a lot. There's not a male gem among any of them.
I didn't even think about it until.
Like Steven's the closest thing we have to a male gem. He's a half gem, though. Anyway, say Yellow Diamond is kind of the head honcho. So either that diamond, what's it called? The one we were just talking about, hit the diamond.
Yeah.
So perhaps it's Yellow Diamond starting to work her way into the mix. Perhaps.
I guess so.
Maybe. Okay. Regardless of this, I'm thinking Yellow Diamond might also initiate, because we had introduced Yellow Diamond at some point. I'm sorry. Go on. So Steven versus Amethyst.
Okay. So like I was saying, just whatever causes the conflict might happen in Crack the Whip, since that sounds like another Amethyst-centric episode. And it's just interesting, it's just kind of like how far these characters have gone, where Amethyst was really the one at the beginning of the season who was most standing up for Steven, whereas the other two were kind of treating him as like a kid, you know what I mean? Amethyst was really the one that believed in him the most out of any of them.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not saying the other two didn't believe in him. I'm just saying, you gotta
remember, Amethyst is kind of the weak link of the gems in terms of like who we can look to be the responsible one, who we can look to as the.
That's what I'm saying. So there was kind of like a camaraderie there, because Amethyst kind of thought that she was being talked down to as well. So there was a bond. So it's just this season's going to get really into just.
So I'm thinking maybe Crack the Whip is like when. Either one of two things. I'm thinking maybe it's Steven. He looks to Amethyst in a moment of crisis, in a moment of need, just like he's putting all his faith in Amethyst, and she lets him down. He's really like basically he would need the whip to be cracked to save him, or would need the whip to be cracked to defend him from something, and she wasn't there, and he's dealing with that. Or the reverse of that, Amethyst is somehow taking. Again, maybe working through some of her issues about about being a defective gem, or like being essentially intended to be a bad guy at first, as we went through the Amethyst's dark origins there.
Right.
Working through issues, and in some way kind of basically cracking the whip in more an offensive move, in terms of she's like she's arguing with Steven. They're really things are heating up between the two of them, like they're really angry at each other, and it'll be building to this episode of Steven versus Amethyst, really they're airing their issues out. They're not fighting, but it's like emotionally. Fighting.
Okay, I can see
that's an idea. I'm just saying like things would be really heated between them. I have like just kind of that whole Steven having some lack of belief in some gems, which logically first would be Amethyst.
I have a feeling that maybe this whole Steven versus Amethyst dynamic is going to happen like throughout the course of the Steven bomb, and much like how we saw kind of the Garnet and Pearl. The Garnet and Pearl dynamic play itself out in the last Steven Ball. Maybe we'll have something similar happen. I don't know.
It's like look at the types of moms that we have with the mom archetypes we have with our three main gems here. The Steven with Amethyst. It's like the fun mom's always the one's gonna be thrown under the bus first. The one that thinks she's the safest. She's the one who's gonna be at odds with the kid first, opposed to the other two. Yeah.
Okay. So what's next?
Beta Part 1.
Oh, you want to just tackle all three of these in terms of, because I don't really know if we have Beta Part 1, then we have Earthlings Part 2, and then Back number 2 to the Moon Part 3.
So Beta is obviously gonna be the beginning of something. I think it's gonna be that one's gonna definitely get into some gem history. That one, I'm certain. I think it's gonna be like a gem history trilogy of like how it's factoring into the present plot. So Beta is going to be about like what you thought was like the start of something. It's a little vague, folks, but I'm just working what we have as a title. I think Earthlings is going to be okay. So this is gonna be a weird analogy. It's gonna be kind of like the Christopher Reeve Superman in terms of like kind of the 3-act structure. Okay, your beginning is kind of your Krypton, so the Beta is kind of the Krypton, like we're on Homeworld for that act. Earthlings is kind of like the gems. It's gonna be a focus on like the gems making their stand against Homeworld.
Okay.
And Back to the Moon will be kind of our present conflict of going back to the moon. So I guess something big is going to happen during the Steven bomb. So this is going to be something to pay attention to, folks. So, like, okay, so it's going to the moon. It's going to be a big deal. Something big is going to happen on the moon.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out. All right.
So again, Back to the Moon means they're going to be going back there where they had some sort of realization where they kind of, I think, our present conflict. So again, I'm thinking kind of a Superman structure on this 3-parter.
Okay, I like that.
Okay, bubbled.
Right. This is obviously probably going to be Steven getting like his bubble shield with somebody and maybe not knowing how to turn it off or something like that.
What if he just can't control? It's like he's bubbling everything around him.
right. I don't know.
Or Steven's just caught. He's trapped in a bubble the whole episode. He cannot get out.
I can see that. Oh, hold on. You know, okay, picture this. So we have like maybe like an intense battle scene, and Steven's trapped in the bubble. He can't get out of it. And like Darth Maul style, someone goes down because Steven physically can't get to them because he's trapped in the bubble.
Oh boy.
I don't know. I'm still thinking that Greg might go before the end of the season.
Wait, what? What?
I don't know.
Why didn't you tell me about it? I didn't know this. You think Greg's gonna...
I think that Greg dying would be the ultimate, like...
No, that's... How dare you, sir? How dare you wish bad stuff befall our beloved Greg universe? No, I can't accept that. No.
I think if any animated show is going to kill off a beloved character, this is the show to do it, though.
Well, yeah, but not Greg Universe. No.
Okay, then Pearl, then.
No, don't make me choose. No, Pearl, she can reconstitute herself. Pearl's fine.
That's true.
Greg.
Which is why I think it will be Greg, because he can't reconstruct himself.
It's
or Connie.
Well, I don't think they can kill children on television.
That's true.
But with Greg though, if it does happen with Greg, he's gonna be saving Pearl.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
If he does, it's gonna be like jumping in the way, and then that's gonna redeem him. And
Steven's trapped in the bubble, and you can't do a damn thing about it.
Oh boy, but that's the thing. It's going to embitter our protagonist too much. That's what I'm worried about. If he is in that position where he could have.
Well, I mean, looking at just what we're getting with the Steven bomb, I think this next stretch of episodes is going to kind of delve into our protagonist getting embittered.
Can you imagine the outcry from the fan base of, you killed Greg? It's going to be like the death of Superman with Steven Universe. It's like, no! People are no! That's not true! That's impossible! Yeah, they're just going to be like painting their vans black and driving them down the streets and on like a little guitar. Dun, 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 dun. Oh yeah, but I don't think they're gonna kill Greg Universe. At least I hope they don't.
Well, I'm just saying if they did, that would be a damn dramatic way to do it.
It would. It's like kind of hard to get back, like bounce back from that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kindergarten Kid. The Kindergarten Kid. By the way, I just want to say with kind of our speculation, we can't always predict gloom and doom. I got to predict some fun ones here too. So I want to make that clear. We can't always get a story-related one.
But Kindergarten Kid is like you're making that point. But I think Kindergarten Kid, if any episode's going to be depressing, it's going to be this one.
Yeah, Kindergarten. Yeah, I'm just saying like Bubble. I think we're coming down a little too like Greg Universe death with the episode titled Bubble. I'm not. Then again, this is coming from a guy who's really won over the show in the episode where our main character was turning into cats. So I'm not really sure I can really speak to that one. So.
Oh boy.
Anyway, the Kindergarten Kid again. It's definitely a parody of the Kindergarten Cop, but no. I'm not saying it's going to be that. I'm saying the name.
Amethyst flashback.
Yes. I'm with you. Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah.
This one actually could get into Amethyst's issues of like coming from that place like she was made bad. It's a real sticking point with her.
I could just see Amethyst as a little kid just running around the kindergarten being completely oblivious to the fact that she's supposed to be evil.
And again, it's like always again what this last episode kind of taught us. That Amethyst, she's like imperfect evil. Hence the reason she was able to go to the good guy's side. It's
BlueDragonFive. So you mean to tell me that you're not perfect?
Courage Galley dog reference, right?
You're not perfect. Yeah. Courage.
Yeah, but seriously, see what I'm going? You see what I mean, there, right?
Yeah, no, I see.
Yeah, it's like the fact that like imagine the inferiority. Like, man, I wasn't even good enough for those guys. I was like I was a reject. I'm a cracked gem.
Yeah.
And that's might be a flashback with her, perhaps. You're right.
I would be surprised if it wasn't.
Gem Harvest. Your next one.
I have a feeling that's got to have something to do with the cluster.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Again, we got to factor in Yellow Diamond at some point. Just been talked about. I think Gem Hunter, Gem Harvest is going to be about our big head honcho gems tracking down our other gems.
Okay.
Maybe it may be trying to utilize them for the experiments for the cluster, perhaps.
This show needs an equivalent to Boba Fett.
Oh, Yellow Diamond kind of sounds like kind of our Emperor.
I don't know why I just thought of that, but like a gem who's assigned to hunt down other gems.
That would be kind of cool. I just like they're kind of building Yellow Diamond like the Emperor, so I'm wondering who the Boba Fett would be.
And then Pearl's blind, and she's like, Yellow Diamond, where? And then
you know what would just establish this Boba Fett-like character?
What?
If just like you have a gem, a very silent, stoic gem, just walk up and as the gem's like rushing the battle, this gem just backhands Garnet into a rock, or actually, I'm sorry, just backhands her into dividing into Ruby and Sapphire.
Oh, ooh.
And then just I'm just saying, if you had a gem so powerful and so effective that they could just like hit the gems like one concentric move, that would just basically be able to like rip, like go in. Again, bear in mind there's no blood or anything, so it'd be much more PG and much more friendly, but still violent and intense. That
well, no, I mean, having like one hit that would tear Ruby and Sapphire apart, that would be like no blood. But
I'm saying, yeah, what I'm saying is like imagine a gem with like kind of a precision, like knows gems and knows the weak points, knows destruction. Basically, they'd be able to get to the point where like and like backhands Garnet into two gems and knocks him out, basically then turning into Ruby and Sapphire. Then those would turn just the gems themselves. The taken out gems, and then just like basically this darts. That's just to me the horrific image in my head. Just reaches into Pearl's head and just removes the gem from the body. Disintegrate the body. And then Amethyst would just be terrified. Usually she's the one who's gung ho. She'd just be terrified, cowering, and that'd be like her and Steven for the episode trying to figure out how are we going to stop this thing.
Right.
But seriously, can you imagine that? There's the one that was so terrifying, just knew all the weak points and everything. Just like take down the gems like that to harvest them. Like, hey, that would be your Boba Fett-like character. And then, of course, the big thing would be to protect Steven, because if you do that to Steven, results aren't going to be too good. Removing the gem from Steven.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, then we have Know Your Fusion.
I love that title too.
So Know Your Fusion, again, that could also be kind of our Jasper episode in terms of like kind of knowing Garnet confronting them with the fusion stuff, like the whole like you're doing the fusion wrong. I'm not saying it's gonna be like, hey, you guys turn the lights out. What do you say? No, it's not gonna be that. It's gonna be it's gonna be like knowing. It's gonna be about you guys are a perversion of what fusion is, which obviously sticks in Garnet's crawl, as we know absolutely from the episode she met kind of our geo weapon cluster monsters.
Right.
Just like it's gonna be kind of the confrontation of the working fusion versus our dark twisted fusion of like people are just shouldn't be fused together. One's just begging to get out of there. The other one's like, no, I need your power. So yeah, maybe at some point Jasper's gonna have to get out of the water. Are they called malachite when they're fused together? Is that it?
Something like that.
Yeah, Malachite. It's like the third Malachite I've ever heard. You know,
I know, right?
So I'm saying, I'm hearing Malachite all over the place. I mean, it's Malachite in Suburban Nights. It's Malachite in Malachite and Lord of the Dark World. I'm hearing Malachite everywhere.
And then also Krampus. Krampus is also popping up everywhere.
Yes. But you see what I mean, though? It could be just kind of the Malachite versus the Garnet fusion, just kind of getting to the basics of fusion education and the fusion ways. Know your fusion. That's potential.
I have a much more lighthearted and delightful take on that title. Okay, so I've not watched through Avatar myself. It's on my to-watch list. But the episode of Avatar, which is essentially like the recap episode, but done in the theater setting?
Do I know an episode of Avatar Last Airbender? Say that again, just to hear yourself. Yes, I know that episode.
Okay. I it would be great if that was this episode, except it would be like Steven in the gyms having to explain fusion to... basically having to explain all the gem-related stuff to the citizens of Beach City to prepare them for the imminent arrival of Jasper, but having to do it in a comedic way that kind of breezes through the whole storyline of the series.
That could be neat. I might like that. That would be kind of a good penultimate one. There, on our next
one. That's what I'm saying. Something light, but but in the background, it's all right, we're telling you this because you need to be prepared for some shit that's going to go down.
And again,
but we'll have some fun with it.
All the ones we've been talking about here, folks, we have no definite order on these. We're just assuming we're just randomly going through these.
I mean, I think we're kind of assigning a loose order to them just based on the order that they're all on Wikipedia.
Yeah, I think the last one that we actually have here is probably the last one of the season. That's most.
I would be surprised if it's not. Yeah.
But I mean, otherwise, the rest of them it's up in the air when they appear.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, so our next one that's my favorite title of all these so far. Because this is one of my favorite gags in one of the first season episodes. Tiger Philanthropist.
Oh God. God.
Let me recap why I love Tiger Millionaire, again, who's now been upgraded to Tiger Philanthropist. Essentially, Steven and Amethyst were in a pro wrestling type situation where they would be a tag team.
Uh-huh.
And wrestling Lars would go nuts for it, and he'd love it. And Tiger Millionaire was Steven Universe's a moniker, and he would wear essentially it'd be like Gordon Gekko as his background. His background essentially was Michael Douglas from Wall Street,
basically,
and just with a little tiger cat nose, little cat nose, and call him some little cat nose whiskers, and he'd just be wearing suspenders, and he'd call himself Tiger Millionaire, and it amused me so much. And I gave him a whole backstory and everything, much like Wall Street, and he just cracked me up. I thought it was hilarious, and especially I just love Lars being so impassioned by the story and the redemption, the wrestling the betrayal and redemption of Tiger Millionaire.
Right.
Just he knocked down his soda, knocked down a drink and soda, and then Lars is like, no! And then he's clapping, he's tears in his eyes clapping, yeah, you go, Tiger Millionaire, you redeemed us. And anyway, so the fact that he's coming back, and he's upgraded himself, Tiger Philanthropist, so he's out of his wrestling, he's out of Tiger Millionaire, he's giving back. That's what essentially this title is. It's Tiger Millionaire, but he's giving back to the community. I'm just so looking forward to see I have no idea what to say other sides of that. I love the title Tiger Philanthropist. I don't know if it's going to be back to wrestling or if he's just going to be donning the moniker again as a public figure. I don't know. I love it, though.
Yeah. It's just a delightful episode title on top of just... It'll be fun.
Tiger Philanthropist.
All right. And then what we are right now still assuming is maybe the finale is last one out of Beach City.
Sounds dramatic enough. It could be a final.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
Okay, so
the interesting thing is that we've already dealt with a whole evacuation out of Beach City.
True, but I'm thinking this one, Beach City's gonna be completely decimated.
Oh, damn, that'd be hardcore.
So again, I'm thinking just like the spare of the cluster from destroying the Earth, it's still gonna come out at some point, and that's gonna probably decimate Beach City. Which, of course, all these people in their places of businesses and everything, of course, as we know from that one episode, they were essentially just getting through a blackout. It's a lot of damage there. Imagine what happens when their place of business completely...
Yeah, that would be a really dramatic change in status quo moving forward.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they'll have to go to the Keystone Motel.
Oh God, setting the fucking Show at the Keystone Motel.
It'd be like the Great Muppet Caper. They're all crammed in this hotel. Okay, but seriously, let me throw this out there again. I don't know if it would just be squeezed into this episode or how long the cluster thing is going to go on for. I'm just throwing this idea out here because I want to speculate kind of the ending a little bit.
Okay.
I'm thinking maybe like the cluster ultimately, whether the clusters. I think regardless, I think the beach city is going to be decimated with a title like that. That's what my thought is. So whether it's going to be the cluster or my thought here, that I'm thinking the cluster might be the way it's formatted here. It might be in there to distract from Malachite, Jasper and Lapis's fusion coming back. Like we're dealing with the cluster. Think about it. Last mention of Malachite was like Stephen had the dream. Yeah, I remember the whole we look awesome episode when they're all
yeah.
Stephen had a dream, and Lapis is in a really bad situation, keeping Jasper at bay in the fusion. Yeah, that's the last we heard of him. So we've gotten through all these episodes, and then they throw out the cluster plot line, which is kind of our big thing we're worried about right now. So I'm thinking whenever that wraps up, or I think the cluster has been thrown in right now to kind of distract us with another big conflict. So when we think after they deal with the cluster, after the day is saved, we're all good, I think Malachite's going to emerge, and then they're going to deal with that. It's going to be kind of like the last big surprise. Because remember, who would you sick on our characters? And then the character that hates rose quartz and hates Steven Universe more than anyone on this planet.
Oh man.
I'm just saying that to me would be the dramatic thing of, okay, well, we dealt with the cluster, man, that was the big deal. We saved the whole planet, yay for us. And then our personal vengeful enemy is now returned, and we're unprepared for it. It's completely caught off guard by
my only thing with that is that would they really go essentially a whole season and not have Jasper in it at all?
That's the thing. I'm saying Jasper would. I didn't say it was going to be the end of Jasper. I'm saying Jasper's coming back here because they should.
I know, but Jasper's coming back literally at the end of the season.
I don't know. Again, if they might build her up in the meantime, might build up Jasper, perhaps. But I'm saying you're still distracted by the cluster. So I'm just throwing some vague speculation, like the cluster is just brought up. The logic behind bringing the cluster up when we still have Jasper to deal with. So I'm saying I think they're saving Malachite for something big at the end.
I don't watch Adventure Time, but I know Adventure Time has the Lich, which is essentially this mythical evil creature and the way they deal with that is very much like you're suggesting with Jasper. It's we'll have this storyline and then the Lich will just pop up. I don't know.
Oh, it's an idea. Again, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying I think regardless of the city is going to be, Beach City is going to be wiped out by something, whether it's going to be a cluster or just kind of a Malachite's return there.
Right.
But regardless, I'm just saying it's the only logic I can think of what you would do with Malachite. It's looking into it. That's the only appearance Jasper and Lapis have had this season, just that one episode. And you're thinking they have to come back at some point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'd just be shocked if it was at the season finale.
I'm saying I'd be impressed if they just reminded us of hey, you forgot about him just long enough. We've been busy with the cluster. Now, boom, surprise.
Kind of like a certain someone at the end of episode 7.
Anyway. It says, regardless, the cluster is going to be big, though, so we don't know how long they're going to extend the cluster thing. So we'll see. Sure. I don't mind them holding off Jasper until next season, but I think as long as they bring him back, set him up really. I think they're going to set him up a few times if they're going to bring him back next season, but if it's just going to be not bringing back, focusing on the cluster and other stories, and then bringing back the personal story towards the end of the season might work.
Okay.
Because again, that's what they did with Jasper last season too. Jasper just kind of showed up at the end.
No, that's true. I'm just saying, they have a character as good. I don't know. I see where you're going. It would be the surprise.
It would be the big test. Think about it. That would be the one where it's. Oh yeah, let me tell you my other theory about what happened if Jasper comes back and makes it. Had to be Jasper's. I'm thinking it might be Jasper specifically. I think we should definitely consider the possibility that Peridot's going to sacrifice herself to save the day.
Oh, she could be the death.
That's what I'm saying. Right. I think Jasper or Malachite, because again, I think Cluster.
Talk about a death that would be meaningful and yet not kind of ruin the overall flow of the show.
Because think about it. Let me throw this at you. So you got the Cluster. Now the Cluster is obviously a big deal, but that's the thing. Peridot would be conquering a fear most definitely, but still think about it. That's the thing she's invested. That's the thing that's her deal. Now, if she dealt with Jasper Malachite, that'd be her definitely cementing herself as she's a member of the Crystal Gems, and she's helping them after the big thing they dealt with there. And then Jasper's showing up and she has did be the most selfless sacrifice. I have no connection with you really. I'm jumping in there so to protect you from Jasper. Don't get me wrong. I think Peridot was somehow, again, it's been a while, folks, so forgive me a little sketchy on details, but didn't Peridot somehow summon Jasper and Lapis?
Oh God, I don't.
Point is, I think what I'm actually, let me change my thoughts on this a little bit. I think it might be like Peridot cleaning up her own mess, and that'd be her final heroic act of cleaning up the mess of bringing Jasper in.
Okay.
I could have sworn at the end of last season was Peridot was the one that brought Jasper. To them, or at least was like one of the.
I'd have to rewatch it, man. I'm sorry. That's the thing with the show. There's just a lot of detail to it.
Okay, but regardless, you see what I'm saying? That might be like a good heroic sacrifice for Peridot. Because as much as I love the series can be a member of the Crystal Gems, there's always a chance that they might realize, oh, we can't keep her on the team, so we got to get rid of her somehow, and that'd be the heroic sacrifice way to do it.
Sure. Okay.
And of course, the way you kill a Crystal Gem, the way we haven't seen, the way you keep them from coming back, it would be Peridot. You grind the gem up, and only Jasper can make her.
Oh, that would be brutal.
That's what I'm saying. I think Jasper would be the only one ruthless enough to do that.
Oh man.
Otherwise, though, she could meet her end at the cluster. I'm saying if she has to meet her end at all, I'm saying it could be one of those things that she's definitely tied into. She would have to buy it.
I think you're onto something, though.
Also, let me throw this idea at you, just in general with Garnet. Something we should maybe also consider. It's a dark thing, I know, but something to consider.
Okay.
The idea of a permanent defusion.
Oh, ew, that would be rough.
I'm saying, what if that was like a season-long arc for next season?
That would be interesting because it'd be a way of killing off Garnet, but not at the same time.
I'm thinking you set it up so well, like we know the fusion, we know the backstory, so we have characters, and we would fall back on. So again, Garnet's out of the picture, so it's like that relationship can never be whole again.
Oh, that would be so devastating. Yet it wouldn't ruin the show. Okay, I like it.
What if there was a sacrifice of after Peridot's sacrifice? I'm just throwing this out there. So again, Peridot meets her and grinded into horrific little gem dust bits.
Right.
Which again would be so violent, so devastating. That's the most violent thing you can do to a gem is grind them into powder. I'm just saying. Peridot sacrifices herself. It's a big blow to the gems. Like, no! And Garnet somehow pulls it off. Like something's probably been set up earlier this season. She would defuse Jasper and Lapis, but in the process, she herself be permanently defused, at least for the foreseeable future. So that would be her sacrifice to defuse someone else. You would have to permanently sacrifice your own fusion. Which again would be saving Lapis and stopping Jasper from being more powerful.
Yeah, I could see it. It'd be ballsy, though. It'd be ballsy because Garnet is probably the most iconic of the gems.
Oh, yeah, it's a biggie.
Just the design.
Or, actually, let me give you a happy ending here. You have a defusion there, and I'm saying your eventual resolution to that would be what if essentially Peridot's ashes, essentially, her gem shards were somehow used to bring him back. Like Garnet's design would be, she'd be back, but she had like little green connecting bits on her, like little green lines on her.
I like that if they explain it well enough.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying they'd set up, basically. Imagine Peridot's kind of remains, and Peridot in the end would still the thing she thought like, no, but gems don't fuse. That's ridiculous, and she ultimately would be a fusion, and in the end, showing that she did come around as a character. I'm saying it's an idea.
All right. Well, I'm gonna level with you, man. I'm kind of running out of fuel in my tank with my sickness and all. So
okay. Well, luckily we're at the end here. So, folks, point is the last one at Beach City is gonna be a biggie. We're assuming that's gonna be the last one there.
For sure. Okay. So we next Monday is going to be we'll come live on air and hopefully. Dragon, I'm sorry, you have access to the episodes online, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. That's something we probably should talk about off air, but
yeah, definitely.
Okay, so we'll be live on air on Monday to react to the answer and kind of go from there. It'll be an exciting week of Steven Universe, getting back into the swing of things, so can't wait for that. In the meantime, I am a crystal gem, and I'll always save the day. And if you think I can't, I'll always find a way. That's why the people of this world believe in Tiki,
Dragon,
and Steven. and the Tiger Philanthropist.